Hey there, Har here, and today we are back with another balance change by Blizzard. So we have some more nerfs to God Comp, being Guardian Druid, Fire Mage, and Holy Pally. In addition to that, we have some buffs to some, I guess, not as played classes, less popular classes, specifically Prot Warrior, Sin Rogue, Mistweaver. And they have mentioned that they are going to be continuing to roll out balance to other classes right here. We'll make several tuning adjustments to classes that are over and underperforming. So yeah, it's good that they're continuing to balance these classes. It's gonna take them some time. Again, I had mentioned in previous videos. It's probably because they have one class lead design working on multiple classes. So who knows? Say for example, the one working on warrior might also be working on monk. I don't know if that's true. Just giving an example. In addition to this, they have also tuned dungeon scaling. So every key level past 20 is going to be 8% scaling rather than 10%. So that does address the issue I had mentioned previously where some of the keys were locked in. I believe a 30 is the equivalent of a 28 now. So that is, or a 30 now will be the equivalent of a 28 previously. So that is definitely nice. Okay, so jumping straight into it. For Guardian Druid, we have Ursox Fury Shielding reduced from 50% to 45%. Innate Resolve bonus healing, the lower the health you are, reduced from 150% to 120%. For the Innate Resolve portion, honestly speaking, you probably won't notice this. I think the people who might notice this a bit more are people who are newer to Guardian Druid, not managing their Iron First stacks too closely, not pressing defensives on pull. And so it kind of forces them to press a frenzied regen immediately. And so you might feel that a bit more, but for the more, seasoned Guardian Druids, even if you nerf this to 100% to like 50%, realistically speaking, it would not do too much as of right now. And the main reason for that is because of Ursox Fury. So for Ursox Fury, I do think this was a fine nerf. Even after the previous two nerfs, which were Ursox shielding from 60 to 50% and raise and thrash damage reduced by, I think it was 8%. Even after those two nerfs, Guardian Druid was still the tankiest tank in the meta. As far as damage goes, I do think Guardian Druid is like fine. If anything, buff up some of the other classes, but I would not say it is anything out of line or anything. But for sure, it is the tankiest tank. With this nerf, I do see it affecting a few of my pulls, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to change much at all. I do think Guardian Druid will still be the meta tank, but I don't think it is anything too out of line anymore. What I would like to have seen a bit in terms of changing in order to balance is something more along the lines of reduce damage beyond, I don't know, 20 targets, 15 targets, whatever it might be, on raise and thrash perhaps. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of these giant pulls that Guardian Druid is able to pull off is because 10 to 15 of those targets don't really hurt that much. And so those 10 to 15 targets, it will add up for other tanks, but for Guardian Druid, because of Ursox Fury shielding, those 10 to 15 mobs are actually providing you more defensive value than taking damage, than damage intake, essentially. So I would like to see them address that. I think that is where Guardian Druid, that's where everybody gets a notion that Guardian Druid is insane. They're just fucking unkillable, super tanky. But if Guardian Druid pulled a bit smaller, something around the lines of 7 to 10 targets, say for example, you would definitely see them taking more damage. Obviously, inside of Incarn, you're still going to be unkillable, whether you have Ursox Fury or not. I think people really need to understand that. You have infinite Frenzied Regions, so inside of Incarn, regardless of whether you have Ursox Fury, it's not going to matter at all. That's just, you know, I guess the niche of Guardian Druid in a sense. So if you want to like tackle that problem instead, that's a whole separate topic. But if you want to tackle the issue of Ursox Fury, I think the problem that needs to be addressed is where you're able to pull, 25, 30 targets. Not like every pull, obviously, but in Brackenhide, say for example, you pull all those mobs, you do actually get the 30 plus targets. In some of the other dungeons, say for example, Naowh Slayer, the first pull, I believe that's like 20 something targets, 20 plus targets. So for sure some of these pulls are Guardian specific. I don't think there are very many of the tanks that can do those without worrying for their life. Alright, so that's enough for Guardian Druid. With this, I don't think this is going to change too much. I think Guardian Druid will still be the meta for sure. But I can definitely see Vengeance DH being a perfectly fine option. Just definitely not as tanky still. Okay. So for the Mage and Holy Paladin nerfs, I not gonna speak too much on these since I don't play these classes, but from what I've heard, there's like a 5% AoE nerf for Fire Mage. Then obviously for Holy Paladin, it's just all damage decreased by 10%. I don't believe this is gonna change too much. I think God Comp is still gonna be the meta, especially in the higher density dungeons where Fire Mage excels at, just because of the target cap. So I think Fire Mage will still be the class to go to for a majority of your dungeons when you do big pulls. Okay, for some of the alternative classes to run though, I believe Warrior is actually a very strong contender for some of these. DPS Warrior, primarily because of Spell Reflect. Spell Reflect is very, very strong in Halls of Infusion last boss, in, Underrot first boss, Naowh Slayer for sure, 2 of the bosses. So, what else am I missing? Vortex Pinnacle, first and last boss. Definitely nice. Uldaman's 3rd boss. So, Warrior's pretty good. I believe their AoE, while it is target capped, is not bad actually. They're not too bad. Their damage is pretty good. But I still do not believe they can compare to a Fire Mage, especially when it gets to the higher target scenarios. But it is a decent option if you are doing perhaps some of the lower keys where time isn't as tight. I would definitely look into taking a Warrior, especially a Warrior who knows how to do the taunt spell reflex on the bosses. It'll help significantly on Tyrant weeks. Alright, that's pretty much about it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck pushing your keys. There will definitely be a lot more timed keys now, which is great. Season isn't as dead, and we have a very, very good week coming up next week, which is, what was it, Fort Bursting Storming, I believe. Pretty much the best fort week. So good luck with all of your pushing, whether you're going for title or perhaps some achievements, maybe personal goals of 30k, things like that. Wish you all the best of luck, and I will see you in the next one.